Hey guys, big news just came out a few hours ago. Nerfs coming next week. If you're competing in Masters Tour, this is hugely inconvenient, but maybe really great. But if everyone else, these nerfs are for sure going to have a massive impact on the meta game. The first, I'm going to go to the one that affects me the most. Garrett will deal 2 damage to the enemy. He'll shovel 3 bleeds. Now you shovel 2 bleeds. So with the guild trader, now instead of 32 damage, you will get 24 damage. That's not a lethal. Now you can still get it with the Aug Merchant and get 30, but you have to save the Aug Merchant. And if you've actually played the deck, you know how difficult it is to save the Aug Merchant while being fast. That being said, it could still totally work. But also, now decks with armor are going to kind of wreck Garrett Rogue. Warrior, Druid, these classes like Cenarian Ward, you just get to a high level of armor, and Garrett Rogue is just not going to be able to get through. So it's very counterable now, and it's also not a consistent. So personally, I think Garrett Rogue is dead. I think field contact rogue is some form of field contact rogue is probably going to still be around, but Garrett Rogue, as we know, I just don't see it surviving. Because Rowdy, if it's good, it's so easy to counter now. Certain classes though, so maybe it could stay and be a high skill deck that a very small players play, depending if the meta is this. But if you're playing a lot of Garrett Rogues, you play Warrior, you play Druid. I'm saying more like the Malagos Druid or Celestial Druid, and you're going to annihilate it. Just get a Cenarian Ward down, and they're not going to be able to deal with that usually. Though the tempo win condition still works, but we'll see if the moment lots of decks start using tempo win conditions, things like Demon Hunter can do really well because it's just going to be very hard to get that board win. Because remember, board removal is just still so incredibly strong. Next big one is Arcanist Dawngrass Mage Quest, nerf from 3 spell damage to 2 spell damage. This is another reason why I think Garrett Rogue is dead. This is actually bad for Garrett Rogue, but this nerf is huge. And actually, interestingly enough, the cram session is probably where the nerf hits hardest. Being able to get that 4 draw with a spell damage makes a huge difference. I think with the 2 spell damage, I think this deck is just straight up dead. I don't think it's going to survive. Now, that being said, Ignite is a hell of a card. And so if the deck were to get 2 controllers, it's not even because of the quest, it's because of Ignite. I could see No Minion Mage coming back, maybe with Ignite and without quest. There's a lot of, maybe you could see some other quests, but if control were to come back, Ignite has the infinite fatigue damage for 1 card. So I think Mage could come back in some shape or form just because it does something that no other deck does quite as well. Warlock is the closest one, but it doesn't. It just has that infinite scalable increasing damage, which is insanely good. And then we have Razormane Battleguard going from 2 health attack to a 2/3 to a 2/2. This is also huge. Now, when they hit the taunt, it's not as big a deal, but often, if you've played this deck, the 2/2 means I can weapon hit and Aug Merchant it. There's little plays I can do now. Having that 1 additional health often means it's going to get killed. And that makes a huge difference in early tempo wars. Just the deck card is not nearly as good now. That being said, Aggro Druid could easily still survive. It's still a very strong deck. Has a lot going for it. Not just that card. It's got the 3 mana 2/4 Oracle. You can still do the 3 mana 2/4 combo. Get lots of stuff. So I don't think this deck's going away. But that being said, it might. In that, one of the things this deck actually did get is a Quest Mage and Garrett Rogue. Both of its main counters in the meta are getting nerfed. So that actually is huge for the deck. So I think those things will kind of counter each other out. But that being said, now Razormane just dies to the 1 mana spell, dies from Warlock so easily. So I definitely think aggro druid a lot weaker. So what do I think right now is going to be ridiculously strong post nerf? Hunter and warlock. And so warlock now is going to be, it's going to be a lot harder to Gyro. If you're running altar fires, realistically all you have to do is altar fire one Gyro, and you're probably going to win the game. If that even is a deck, and even if you don't do it, you're just them having the less damage, them having to save stuff makes the rogue's job so much harder. And I think Hunter is going to be dominant. And one last thing I almost forgot. Actually, big news is Renew going back to 1 mana. That's kind of crazy. So the Renew got nerfed, got to 2 mana, and then now Priest has been dead for a long time. And the devs have just gotten sick of all the Priest players saying, "Hey, you screwed us." So they're bringing back Renew. Renew at 1 mana, and I think actually, interestingly enough, Control Priest might not be a thing, but APM Priest might be back. The sort of the infinite value of APM Priest might be good enough to win in the current meta. But now that with Renew at 2, it was very, very bad just for that deck, because often you do the 6 Veil Weavers and the Renews, but I think with this Renew nerf or this Renew rebuff, that deck might absolutely be on the menu again. So bottom line, these nerfs are huge. These nerfs will completely shift the metagame, no doubt in my mind. Not just at the low level, at the high level, at the mid level. All levels are going to be affected, but in different ways. I think on the climb to legend, I've heard there's a lot more quest mages than there is at high legend, largely because of Garrett Rogue. And the part of the problem is they just nerfed Garrett Rogue without learning Mage. Or they just nerfed Garrett Rogue, which I was commenting on Twitter on Genre, who called out that Garrett Rogue getting nerfed. Those decks, so aggro would have been hyper dominant, and then Mage would have been everywhere, and it would have been a really bad meta. This does leave a lot of room open for different things, especially the Priest. Warlock though might just run over everything. I think there's a very good chance Warlock just becomes super dominant. So I'm not necessarily happy about these nerfs, but I probably would have been very unhappy if I didn't see the Renew buff. That just gives me as a Priest player some hope that Priest might be back. So anyways, hope you guys found that interesting, and yeah, so on Tuesday we'll see what is good and what is not. See you then.